Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
This never gets old for me. I'm totally serious about this. Anytime we have a medium, a psychic, an intuitive on, I just get all jacked up. I get excited. It's just, you never know what's going to happen, first of all, but even just learning the whole process of how somebody connects with somebody who has passed on is just, it's amazing. And so is she. Leah, DiNapoli is with us. Welcome. How are you doing?
Thank you, Steve. I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. And people say these two terms, and sometimes they get interchanged, but you are a medium, correct?
Correct.
Difference between a psychic and a medium. What is that?
The difference between a psychic and a medium. So people can focus on one line. I call them lines, or another. So almost like radio stations, we can tune into different radio stations.
Mm-hmm.
So a psychic station, which I'm also a psychic, but I really love my medium work. A psychic station is more on a level of what's going on now, or premonitions that are going to happen. And a medium level is about connecting with souls who have already passed on.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's a little bit different there.
But does it get interchanged in that, let's say, as a medium, you've connected with somebody who's passed on, but they have advice for somebody, but it's about their future. So it almost sounds like a psychic type reading?
It does intermingle at times, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
However, when you get a psychic premonition, it's more of an intuitive read. So I could say, I really feel like you're going to have a baby, that's coming on. And 9 times out of 10, it does happen, and it's going to be a boy. And I know it's a name with a C, like kind of get those things. However, we're already into the mediumship role of, I have your Uncle Charlie here, and he wants you to know to stop texting in the car while you're driving, because it's not going to be a good thing if you continue that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I'm not about any doom and gloom. I'm about healing and love. And messages from spirit are all about love and healing. I mean, if your ancestors or your loved ones are across the veil, they want you to feel love, not frightened.
Have you ever gotten something from the other side where it was kind of serious? Do you filter? I guess that's where I'm going.
I do.
Okay.
People have their free will, and that's between themselves and God. So if I do, I have to say most of the premonitions I've gotten that are serious have been a world kind of thing, of something that's going to happen in the world, or it has to do with my own life. So I dream when people in my family were going to pass away. I've dreamt when my dog was going to die. So I get those premonitions, 5 to 6 months prior of those happening. So I always kind of know, and my friends always say, if you get a dream about me, don't tell me.
Yeah. I wrestle with that. I think about that. If I were to know, let's say a relative comes through with a piece of information, would I want to know?
Correct. And I would never impress that onto somebody. Recently someone asked me, I need to tell them they need to get a divorce. They have to get it. And, I got it from a 17-year-old child in spirit who didn't want his parents to get divorced. And it was not up to me to say that. And I know it was coming from the 17-year-old child who had passed on. And he obviously didn't want his parents to move that way. And I had to explain to the spirit that that wasn't something that was in my realm to do, because that goes against free will, and that steers people in directions that they might not take or take. So.
Wow. Yeah. I guess it's a tough, challenging situation for you. Let's say there's something like medically important that you're getting.
Those I do give.
Okay.
But I wouldn't tell you that you have 6 months to live. That's not up to me either. That's up to God. And I'm not God, and I don't have all the answers. However, there's been times where I could say, I feel like you have something going on in your neck. You definitely should have it looked at. and the people go right to the doctors and have that
Yep.
done. But I am
Yep.
not a medical medium by any stretch of the word.
Yep.
But if I do get those things, I will tell somebody. And a lot of times I'll be sitting across from somebody and I'll have a serious pain in my shoulder or something going on, and I can't even discern whether that's spirit or the person across from me. And I'll say, wow, I've got a really bad pain in my shoulder at the moment. And they're like, oh my God, so do I. So I kind of take on their feelings a little bit. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's something tragic and awful,
I'm like I said, fully transparent. And I don't know if you're vibing me, but I am not kidding you when I tell you I have a shoulder issue.
Oh, see, there you go. That
And
happens a lot too. I
I'm
say
not
things
even
and then
kidding.
it just is up.
I'm not, I can't, I told me I can't speak. Today, I'm calling to arrange for an MRI. And it's
There we
not a
go.
big deal. It's just that when I move it a certain way, I think it's a rotator cuff issue.
I was just going to
But
say,
I did
it's the right
feel,
one, isn't it?
yeah, it is. And I felt some pain, discomfort in my neck about a week ago. I know what it is. Actually, I have an ENT appointment on Wednesday. It's stress. And it flared up in that way. I thought it might have been connected. I'm only bringing that up because you brought it up.
Yeah.
It's,
You know what? That tends to happen to me a lot. When I used to work my normal job at home, I would get, I would just say something like, oh, I was a firefighter, and I would get, we're going to get a call on Chamberlain Street and it's going to be this, that, and the other thing. And my coworkers would say, would you please be quiet? And in 10 minutes, that's where we were going. But it was just something I was saying. I wasn't even thinking about it. So,
wow.
You as a person, as me as a person as well, everyone has these gifts. It's just that we're so busy that we don't take the time to listen. And so you might be saying something and it comes true, and you just pay attention to that. That's your own intuition. And you have gifts as well as everybody else,
I believe that. I believe that. By the way, instant feedback, steve@gmail.com. If you want to reach out, 631-319-6275. I believe the same thing, that we all have intuition, maybe different levels of it, but
yeah, it's just a matter
some
of
of
what
us,
you pay attention to.
maybe you are able to block the noise and clutter out and then focus on the message that's coming through. And I believe in the gut. The gut, that's your intuition, however you want to say it. And so many times we'll wonder about something and the answer just seems so easy that we just blow it off. It can't be that easy. Well, too good to be true. That's it. That it can't be. But usually it's the right answer if it's so strong and it's coming from within. Tell us about how you, Leah, found out that you had some kind of major intuition. You said you were a firefighter for many years. So yeah, take us through that road.
So I knew I had some sort of something when I was younger, even as a child. So I had an interesting ghost in my home that I would see, who, as I got older, scared the bejeebies out of me. My mom used to say she had visions of things that would happen to my brothers. And of course, I had 4 brothers. And so they all made fun of her. And I learned at a very early age to keep my mouth shut. And I didn't know what it was. And I had really no one to speak to about it. However, I used to have these dreams, and my dreams are so visceral. And to this day, my dreams are amazing. And I actually bring spirits in the night before my readings of the people that I'm having the next day that I don't even know. And I meet them in my dreams. It's really amazing. And I absolutely love it. So I used to be afraid of it. And going through my life, a lot of trauma and a lot of loss and a lot of grief that I have endured. I shouldn't say endured, that I've survived. And then having a job that you're placed in the worst moments of other people's lives, the most traumatic moments of other people's lives, not just in fires, but in loss and death and trauma and suicides and shootings. It opens you up to a whole new way of looking things. And I had to find a way to deal with all that.
Wow.
And my way was my mediumship just blossomed. And I realized it was something good, not something to be afraid of. And I'm severely empathetic, so I can feel people's pain. And I needed a way to let that go. Otherwise, I held on to it. And it's disturbing. It's trauma all the time. But I wouldn't trade any of it for anything. And it's taught me a lot. And I know that there's always another side. And life goes on, and we don't die, even though the physical death happens. My mediumship has saved me. I was drowning in grief and trauma, and I want other people to know that they don't have to suffer.
Thank you for being very transparent about that. And yes, if you're empathetic, I was connected to a nurse for a while, and she would have to take a day off every 2 days because she would just internalize everything, and it like ate away at her. She's just, it was rough. And I said, you are a major empath. And she would deny it. No, I'm not. Yeah, you are. And you take it in internally. We have Dawn checking in from Clearwater, Florida. She says, do you believe in getting signs? My husband loved chargers, and whenever I'm thinking about him, I often see one on the road. I'd love to know what you feel about that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Signs are a real thing, and I get them all the time. And she needs to pay attention. He's trying to get her attention. So I think that's beautiful.
I am a firm believer in it as well. My mom passed 4 years ago, and
I'm sorry.
thanks. She's around. There's not even a doubt in my mind. And what you just said about they're always around us, I believed it, and I've worked with mediums and psychics before for decades. I believe in all of it, but I never really understood how this whole process works. But the energy stays. That's my belief.
Correct.
And the physical body is, it's gone. It's just a vessel. They're no longer around. Anytime I ask, let's just say most times I ask for a sign from my mom, I get them. Very specific. The latest one, and I'm staring on the wall here because it's the password to my modem. So I needed a new modem. Actually, I called the cable company. I said, come on, in my office, it's expensive. Like, can you do anything? And they're like, yeah, you know what? We can take it down $100 and give you faster internet. And it's a promotion, 2 years. I'm like, fantastic. So they come in, put the modem in, and I had been thinking about my mom and just like throwing things out, like, tell me, mom, just got stuff going on. Show me a sign that you're around. And it's going to be okay. So I get the modem, I flip it over, and it's 4 digits dash Rose, her name, dash 2 digits.
There's your sign right there in front of you.
And if you want to be skeptical, all right, what are the chances? Yeah, it's random. That's her name. And I'm still trying to figure out the 4 digits on the front and the 2 on the end. Of course, I played Powerball over the weekend.
I was just going to say, you should play those numbers.
Oh, I did. All different combinations or whatever.
Just play them like you got them,
Yeah, and I did too. Because I know it means something, but I have not figured it out. Because like you said with Dawn and the car, the charger, there's something there that her husband's trying to say. I think
he's trying to get her attention. He wants her to know that he's still there. Literally, they're just a blink away.
Yeah.
Their energy is with you. They want to help you as best they can for what they're allowed to do. Now,
how do you mean that what they're allowed to do?
So I firmly believe that the spirit world is allowed to be with us and give us guidance and help us in any way that they are allowed. But just like I explained to you in the beginning, people have free will. And so it's really up to us what we make of our life and how we create our life and our choices that we have every day. We live with the power of choice. It's a God-given gift.
Yeah.
And, from the minute you wake up, do I stay in bed? Do I get up? Do I wear this or wear that? Do I eat this or eat that?
Totally agree.
Where do I want to be today? And where do you want to be? You want to be in the best possible place. Your life is a gift. And you want to make those choices in alignment with your soul and with God or whomever your higher power tends to be, and live the best life you can. And your loved ones across the veil, what do they want for us? They want us to live our best life. They don't want us suffering. They don't want us, they know we have to cry, we have to grieve. And I still miss my mother as well. But I know she just wants me to be happy. And so how better to honor her life than to have the best life I can have for myself and my children.
And maybe with those messages from beyond, maybe that's a little bit of insight or inspiration or just the kind of push to, yeah, it's going to be okay when you ask for a sign. It's okay. I don't do it unless I need it. I'm not like just driving, hey, what's going on? It's
yes, but sometimes when she wants your attention, she'll give you a sign and it'll take your attention to a picture in a magazine, or like you said, your name in the modem. And I could tell you a very interesting story that happened to me over the weekend.
Yeah, please.
It was amazing. And so my husband, who passed tragically from suicide, I have 2 older boys from him. His birthday was October 6th, which was a few days ago, correct? A woman made an appointment with me for a reading on October 7th. So I was waiting for her to come in. And I usually ask my clients, don't tell me your whole name. Don't tell me anything. I just want your first name, because I don't want you to think any healing I give you is something I looked up on the internet. So I won't lie. I have so much integrity for this gift that I have gotten, right? So a gentleman walked in and I knew, geez, the girl's name was, I'm just going to use a random name for sake. So Kathy walks in. Kathy walked in after, and I said, I know I had a female coming in, and then I have this gentleman come in, and he said, oh, hi, I'm here waiting for my daughter. So I said, oh, okay. So you're just going to sit in with your daughter while she gets a reading? And he said, yes. So I said, well, my name is Leah. And he said, my name is Peter. I said, oh, nice to meet you. So the daughter came in. Long story short is the daughter's there and the father's there. And I start reading for the father because the daughter wanted me to read for the father. And I brought in his father, whose name was Ron. So mind you, his father's name was Ron. His name was Peter. I then brought in his son, whose name was Chris. So keep mind of all the names, Peter, Ron, and Chris, correct? I brought in his son, who tragically passed 1 year ago by suicide on October 6th, which was my husband Ron's birthday. My father-in-law's name is Peter. He's passed. My son's name is Christopher. And he died, this gentleman, Peter's son, died 1 year ago on my husband's birthday. And he also committed suicide. That was a huge sign. And there was no. You don't
even have to finish that sentence. And all I'm going to say is, if anybody thinks that is just pure coincidence, please leave the room.
Correct. It wasn't Jack and John
you don't belong
Jane.
here.
I was blown away. And actually, the really interesting thing, Steve, is when the gentleman came in first and we were speaking about spirits and things. And I had no idea his son had passed because we were just having a conversation. He said, well, I guess whatever will be, will be. And he started singing Que Sera, Sera. I had finished that incredible reading, and I went out to dinner with my husband when I got home. We went to an Italian restaurant, and the speaker was right behind me. And we were just sitting down to eat, and I got a glass of wine. And what comes on behind me was the Que Sera, Sera song that you never hear. Whatever will be, will be. And I, of course, you snap to attention because there's a sign. It was my husband trying to get my attention, and he certainly did.
That reading this weekend was you to give comfort to somebody,
and I got comfort.
Right.
That's how that's how it works. I get a lot of people who have had the same traumas, separately.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few who come to me, but the spirit world kind of knows, they all talk too, believe it or not. So it's like, she's really good at murders and suicides and trauma. So I can handle that stuff where somebody else just wants children or can do children and parents, it's the
Well,
same being here.
I find it interesting that to help you cope with the traumas of your job when you're not still a firefighter, am I correct?
No, I retired 2 years ago. I
Okay.
want to do this full time, and
That's what I thought you said. Okay.
yeah.
That there's trauma involved in that. My best friend's an EMT. I hear the stories all the time. I look at them like, how the hell do you do that? And now his back is starting to hurt him because he's been doing it for some time. Transporting patients, but
Yeah.
there's a lot involved. Then you had a lot in your life, and it's interesting what you said, how it helped you deal with that. Like that just what was in you came out to help you deal and heal, but also to help others at the same time. So,
Correct.
perfect. And by the way, on the song thing, you brought back a memory. I was driving in the spring, early spring, had some stuff going on. I knew there was an answer to this situation, and it was just gnawing at me. And I could tell you exactly where I was on the street. And I vibed my mom. I'm like, Mom, what is the answer? And Let It Be pops in my head by the Beatles. I'm like, whatever. It's playing in my head.
Answer.
There will be an answer. Let it be. Now, there's a line in the song also.
That was so her. I'm getting goosebumps.
Mother Mary comes to me. My mom's name was Rose Mary. And Paul McCartney in the song, it's not a biblical reference to Mary. His mom passed at age 14. Her name was Mary. I get to my office 5 minutes later. The phone rings. And that was the answer to the whole situation. It was like
truth. Paul McCartney wrote that song because he said he got the song downloaded by his mom.
Yes. I didn't even know that. I learned that later. I'm like, because I wondered, what's the Mary reference here? Is he like very religious? And that's where and by the way, I printed out the lyrics. They're right over there.
I love Mother Mary. Yeah, I had some major traumas going on in my life, and I've had an NDE, I've had an STE, and what saved me was a really amazing experience that we can get into someday. And I actually have a picture, what I call Mother Mary in the woods. And what happened to myself the next day was incredible, and something I'll never forget. And, I know God is there. Jesus is there. Whatever religion you have. I'm really not a religious person, but I'm a spiritual person. And if you think about that experience I had over the weekend, everything is perfectly aligned. If you just pay attention. And like Dawn asked about her husband's charger. Yeah, of course. And, people always say, well, if I see a butterfly, is that a sign? If I see this, really, it's the sign that you ask for and you associate with that person. So it could be a cardinal that's acting strange. I have one that comes to my window, like a hummingbird. It's bizarre. And it could be that, or it's a rose. You and your mother used to plant roses. Oh, I said rose again. Sorry. She must be in the room with you because you're talking about her.
Let me tell you, Leah, I could go on. Like I could fill an entire podcast, even in the last 2 years, of the signs, the symbols, and their mind blows. They're like, what? And Steve, you're making it up. I'm not making it up. But what you said before, I'm not religious. I am spiritual, kind of gravitated away from maybe more religious. I really was never, but I'm kind of in the middle right now. But then I do wonder, is the stuff I get from my mom connected to a God or a God? Is chicken or the egg? Which is it? Is it really something?
We are all part of God. Every single one of us is a divine drop of God. We are God's children. God loves all of us equally the same, whether you're religious or not. It's just accepting him into your heart and knowing you're part of him.
And then I say, okay, well, the universe, I believe the universe is here to support us. It wants the best for us. This, whatever this thing the universe is. And then I have a friend, Trish, who is very religious and has become more so in the last couple of years. And I've said that to her, and she goes, okay, well, who created the universe? I'm like, oh, leave it at that.
I understand. That's a
Yeah.
little bit above my pay grade. I can just tell
totally.
you that I've felt that presence, and I've had experiences where I have been part of that presence, and there's nothing on earth like it. The closest I could come to the amount of love is what you have for your children, and that's a drop. And I love my children to death. So it's a drop of what divine love is. And people just need to open their hearts to it.
I agree.
You know? And being a religious person, that's fine too. It's just however God is for you, or your higher power, or your universe, or your source, whatever your higher power is, it's all love in the background.
Yeah. We could go on forever. We're out of time.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, no, not at all. How do we find you if somebody wants to get a reading? You do them virtually anywhere on the planet. How do we reach you? How do we find you?
So I have a website. It's Medium Leah. It's medium LEAH.com. Or you can text me if you like. It's 203-623-8144. Excuse me. And just email me. And I have a booking app on my website too. So you just go on there and find a time that works for you. And so I still do some in-persons, but that's like once a month. It's just I can affect more people by doing it out of my office at home.
Sure. Yeah. And I don't believe even us talking today is just by chance. There was a reason. I don't know what the reason is, but
There's a reason for everything. And remember your choices, right? Our choices run our life. So just think about what your choice is. What's the better alignment for you and your choice that day? Are you going to live your life in fear or angst or anxiety or all this stuff? Or are you just going to trust in the universe or God or the soul and your own soul?
Yeah. Yeah. We were created amazingly. Everything we need is, and that's one of the things I've learned in my journey in the last 3 years. If you say it, all I need is within me now. You got everything you need. We all have this intuition thing. We, different levels, of course, but it's all there. Even to heal yourself, it's all there, but you need to tap it.
Absolutely. And it's like you said, it's easier than you think. Yes, it is easy. Meditate a couple minutes a day.
Yeah.
Or just listen, shut the phones, shut everything, and just listen.
So I just got a message before we got on here, and my daughter wants to know if she can hang with her best friend, Leah, today.
Oh, my goodness.
You can't make it up.
Yes, tell her, but they don't need to text each other all day. They can actually have conversation.
That's why I said, and today they're off. So I'm like, yes, absolutely. You're going to see
beautiful.
You're going to see a human and not the four walls and your LED lights in your room.
Yeah, exactly.
And they want to hang with somebody named Maddie. Is there a Maddie? I don't know why. I'm just throwing that out there because it's so weird. There's a Leah, and I'm like, who's Maddie? Oh, that's a guy that was.
I was just going to say, isn't that a guy?
It's not, but she was, my daughter back in the day was an altar server with this person, Maddie. And it's, I guess a girl. I think it's a daughter of a guy in the church. I don't know. Just throwing it out there because you know what? I believe there's a reason for everything. So the fact that you're Leah and she's hanging with Leah, her best friend today.
Amazing. See, I taught you because of my weekend readings. See what happens?
Yeah. Now I'm questioning
all those signs. Yep. Listen to everything. And not every single thing you do during the day has something behind it, but it's also placing you in a place where you're supposed to be. So just have faith, have trust in yourself too, and in your daughter.
Yeah. We got a lot to talk about. It was fantastic meeting you, talking with you today.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And looking forward next time we get together.
Me too. Thank you. I appreciate it, Steve.
Thank you, Leah.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.